Good morning, students. Today it is a lecture 13 under the thermal properties of matter. In the previous class we have learned the calorimetry, the concept of calorimetry. There I have explained about the process of measurement of heat is called as calorimetry. The instrument which is used to measure the heat is called as calorimeter. This we have learned in the last class, and also I said the principle used in this, where we come across always the heat gain is always equal to heat lost. This we explain by the concept of whenever heat flows from higher temperature to lower temperature, there is no exchange of heat to the surroundings. So without the loss of heat to the surroundings, heat will exchange from one system to another system without the loss of heat. There is no exchange of heat to the surroundings. That is taken into account, and we explain heat gained is always equal to heat loss. This is the principle we learn under the concept of the calorimetry, and that uses the consequence of conservation of energy, and because of this most of the times we solve physics problems based on the heat we are using the calorimetry. So let us now learn the one experiment in the laboratory, how we do this in the laboratory, and using that I will explain one formula and how to calculate the problems in physics using the calorimeter. Okay, so now let me explain the calorimeter. Already I said it is an instrument used to measure heat. Instrument used to measure heat. Instrument used to measure heat. Today I will explain how we measure heat in the laboratory. This is a laboratory process. I can say this is a laboratory process. So this we do in the laboratory by using the one instrument calorimeter. Okay, so now let me tell you how do we measure this. Here we have already said the concept, the heat always transfers from higher temperature to lower temperature without the loss of heat to the surroundings. So for this we have learned the principle, heat gain is equal to heat lost. This concept we have learned. So this is the one principle we are using to explain this calorimeter. And heat gain is equal to heat loss. For this I write mathematical equation. By the help of mathematical equation we can solve problems in physics. So let me write how to write this mathematical equation in this. Now first let me just tell you about the one, we have taken the one wooden box. Let me tell you, we take one wooden box. This is the one wooden box. Here, in this wooden box, we have a calorimeter. This is the one vessel we have. That vessel we call it as calorimeter. And here we have a lid for this. This is the one having a lid. Completely it is one made up of wood. So where by using this, remember, in between this we have placed some sponge. Nothing but this sponge is acting as a heat resistant. Already we have an wood. Wood does not conduct heat. So here whatever the heat is there inside will not be conducted to outside or from surroundings is the one made up of copper, right? So this is made up of copper, and this is a wooden box, right? In between we are placing wooden box and copper, that is vessel, where we are placing sponge. Why do we place sponge? Means this is acting as heat resistant. This is acting as heat resistant means even some amount of heat which is there inside or maybe from outside will not be coming to the contact of this copper vessel. It will never allow the heat to come into it. So it will resist. Because of this we prefer to use the one heat resistance, maybe sponge. Maybe the other type we can use like the one nothing but called as the woolen materials you can place, and these are the heat resistance, or maybe sometimes some rug or those cloths will be put into it, due to which it will resist heat from the surroundings or from inside to the outside. Okay, and here we have a lid. This is complete lid will be having two holes. That is, one hole will be there here, another hole will be there here. Two holes are there. So based on this hole, one hole we are placing a thermometer. So only this hole is made to put inside the thermometer here. This is one thermometer we have. Alright? And another hole we have where we are placing a one stirrer. The one stirrer we are placing here. So this stirrer is placed here. This is the one stirrer. Let me call this as a stirrer. Okay. Now this it is completely packed. So no amount of it is entering into it. So complete wooden box is there. In this we have the copper vessel, which is of the one beaker type it is, and one stirrer we have to stir the one water. We have a thermometer to measure the heat, and in between the one copper vessel and the wooden box we have the sponge, which is acting as heat resistant, and that is where we place in between it. Okay, right. Now for this, for your reference, I'll show the one real apparatus how it is. So you can observe. This is the one wooden box. So please observe. This is a complete wooden box we have, and this wooden box is like this. It is completely the one wooden box is like this, and it is completely closed with this lid, and here we have the one hole. Here we have a hole here to insert a thermometer. Due to which only that the thermometer will go inside, and because of this completely it is packed. It is packed like this. Okay. At the same time, in between we have a sponge. Here we have a sponge in between, and this sponge will be acting as a heat resistant, due to which you can keep the one copper. This is the one copper vessel, which is made up of copper material. Any type of material you can take, but here we are preferring to use copper. So this copper vessel is placed inside here. It is placed inside completely like this, and again we are putting this one stirrer in this. Here we have a stirrer, and I just close it. We are just closing like this, so there is no space to come out. So only the stirrer is here, and here we have placing a thermometer. Hope you understood what I say. This is a wooden box, where I said this is wooden box. In that is completely it is filled with the one lid we have like this. At the same time, here is a hole to place the one stirrer. We are having a hole, and one more hole is there to place the thermometer here. And this vessel we have, that is vessel which is of copper vessel. In between we have sponge, where I said in between copper vessel and this we have a sponge here. This is acting at yeast result, and here we are placing this vessel. This is how we are placing the vessel, and we are just completely packing this. This is the one stirrer. It is acting as just like it's the one spoon. It is. We are just stirring the one water here. So let me keep this now. Just close it. So now it is completely packed, right? This is how we have the one copper calorimeter. So this complete instrument is called copper calorimeter, that is calorimeter. But remember, only for this vessel itself we call it as copper calorimeter. But complete instrument it is again it is called as calorimeter itself. It's a device used to measure heat in the laboratory. Now this is the one instrument we have. Now what we are doing? What is the process we come across in this means, here we just take some solid substance, any solid substance you can take, and that solid substance, let me say the solid substance you can take here, and we measure this solid substance where it is m grams. So we are measuring this solid substance. Let me say for your reference, this is ms. ms means the one solid substance. What do you do? The solid substance we take in one container like this. Like this we have one container. This solid we have here. What do we do here? First we measure the one mass of the solid. That is mass of solid. Okay. Next step. What we do is we just take the water bath. Means the water which has been boiled. So water bath we are taking here. This boiling water. Boiling water we take it. So this boiling water we are having this, and we know already the boiling water temperature is, when you measure it, it is 100 degrees centigrade. But even then we insert the thermometer, we measure the water, because we are using this thermometer. This is the one thermometer we are using, and we measure this. Maybe sometimes it is exactly 100 degrees centigrade, okay. Sometimes even if it is 90 degrees centigrade also, you can measure, there is no problem. You can measure the one temperature of this. For your reference, the temperature we are measuring this is, that is T hot. Because this substance, first what we are doing, we are placing this in hot water bath. So hot water bath is there, we are placing this piece. So naturally the temperature rises. Due to this water, even the solid also will be heating up, and hence the temperature of this solid substance is taken as TH. I think hot, that is a hot substance we have, that is TH. Okay. So when you are just heating this, so naturally the temperature first rises. Temperature rises up to some point. So until what temperature it will rise? It will rise to certain limit. At some point it will stop. It will never rise. Even if you are supplying the one hot water bath to it, even then the temperature does not change. Temperature stops. So at that point we are taking as the one stabilizing temperature. Means the temperature has been stabilized. It will never rise. It will never rise. That point has attained it, and that point is stabilizing temperature, and that we note down, and that will be the one TH. So first the one we keep inside, temperature starts rising. At some certain point it stops, means it has stabilized the temperature, due to which there is no rise of temperature, you get this TH. Okay, let us keep it here. Now immediately when it gains this temperature, what we do is we just put this in this container. But before do that, what we have the steps to be done is here, the one calorimeter, what we are having, this calorimeter, this will be the copper calorimeter. This is the one vessel you have. This vessel, you are using mass of this vessel. This vessel measure this empty vessel. This is empty vessel. This is empty vessel. Next, after this, what I do? I just fill 3/4 of this water. So that 3/4 of this water, when I put it, again I measure this. I measure that is empty. When I fill water, so water is there. Now that is nothing but filled water. When you put water up to 3/4 of this, again filled water will be there. Again we measure this calorimeter. Now what we do is, we just take the difference. M2 minus M1 will give mass of water. What is this? The difference in the one mass before and after filling water will be given as mass of water. So here now 3/4 of this we are filling water and we are placing in this, and in this what we do is, here we are filling water here. So that is how you can observe here, that gives mass of water. Right? Mass of water. Again I am inserting thermometer here. Now we note down the temperature of this thermometer. So that temperature of this one, note down this temperature for this thermometer for this water. So we just write T water. Means the temperature of water. We just measure it. Initially the first what we do, we fill water and we note down the temperature of this, and that temperature will be taken as the one temperature of water, TW. Okay. Now what the next process we are doing, we are just removing this hot water. When that is the one hot water bath, we are using this solid substance. We are removing from this and we are placing it in, because here it is already attained stabilized temperature T hot. Now I am removing immediately from this without wasting time. There is no wasting of time. Immediately I remove from this and I put into it. Here I put into it. Here. The solids will be put into it. Now when I put this, immediately I have to put it. I should not waste time without the change of temperature, without wasting time. Immediately I remove from this and put into it, opening the lid and putting it in. Again I am closing the lid. Now when I put into it, what happens? Now this solid substance will be in the one water. Now again I stir this using stirrer. When I stir this, what happens? The water percolates in it. It distributes the one water to the solid substance, and after some time what happens? The thermometer starts rising. It starts rising because earlier only water was there. Now hot substance has been put into it. Now the temperature starts rising. It starts rising up to some level. So when once it reaches that level, now there is no change of temperature. Means now the water level has become, that is stagnant. Means that the temperature of that one will become stagnant. Means it stabilizes. Therefore at that temperature we note down, and that is called as a TF. What is this TF? Final temperature. Means earlier we have that initial temperature of water. Now we have put solid into it, due to which what happens? Because of hot solid substance, and as and when we are just stirring with the stirrer, the water percolates in it and the temperature starts rising in the thermometer. So it will rise. At some point it will stop, and that temperature we note down as T final. So this is the one step we are following here, the one final temperature. When once this process completes, now let me tell you how to write the equation for this, because here these are the steps to be followed now. Okay. Now let me take this concept now. Using this concept I have written the mathematical equation. What is the one? Heat gained. Here the solid substance is having heat. That is, our idea has already gained the heat by putting this in hot water bath. So that one we write it as heat gain. The quantity of heat gained by that solid substance. You know, quantity of heat is represented by Q. So let me write the quantity of heat gained by the one solid substance. So here heat gained is represented by, that is Q. Therefore this gain it is, so I write it Qg. What is this Qg? The heat gained by this. So that is Qg. You already know in the previous class, while writing the concept of specific heat, we have learned one formula T. This concept we have written. What do you mean by this? The quantity of heat supplied to a given substance, it mainly depends on three factors. One, it depends on mass, it depends on rising temperature, and also it depends on the nature of the material. That nature of the material is represented by specific heat, where we already know C, that is specific heat. Also you can write S. So here the CRS. CRS. What is this called as? Specific heat capacity. Specific heat. What is this Q? The quantity of heat is supplied to a given substance. We are supplying quantity of heat to it. What is this M? Mass of the substance. What is delta T? Rise in temperature. So this point we have learned in the previous class. So with the help of this now, quantity of heat supplied to the solid substance is represented by, because it has gained heat, Qg, that is equal to mc delta T. What is this M? This mass of the solid substance. Mass of the solid substance. What is this C? Specific heat capacity of the solid substance. What is this delta T? Rise in temperature. What is this delta T? Delta T is said to be called as rise in temperature. Okay. So here, now this can be written as heat gained by this case. Now the first point, what we have to write? Here, rise in temperature. Let me write, this is Ms, this is C as it is, and delta T means where rising temperature means T hot. This is the one T hot minus Tf. Because I am putting this to the one container here which is consisting of water, it has raised to, that is final temperature. So that T hot minus Tf. This is for the one heat gained by this. And please remember here, mass of the solid substance. Earlier we measured the solid substance. Before heating it, we measure it. We know this factor. But C, we do not know what is that C. We have to calculate. That is nothing but specific heat. What is TH? Hot temperature of the solid substance. It has gained some temperature, hot substance. What is TF? This is, it has attained final temperature. When you put into water, after some time it attains final temperature. This is the one heat gain. Next, what is that heat lost? Next step, heat lost. What is that heat lost? Heat lost here means, here we have two factors. One based on the calorimeter, another based on this water. Both are there here. So here we have calorimeter and also we have water. So two steps to be followed here for heat lost. At that time, I write for two steps. One is for, that is mc delta T. One step. This is for what purpose? This is for water. This is for water. Right? And next, one more we have mc delta T. For what? It is for calorimeter. So here this is for calorimeter. Calorimeter. So two steps to be followed in that container. So one is for water and this is for quantity of heat given to the water, quantity of heat for the calorimeter. These things we are writing using that formula. So here, I write for water means I write like this, MW. What is C? CW, specific heat of water. What is delta T? Delta T for what? Here we are writing for already that water is there and final temperature it has attained. So I write TF minus TW for water. Next step. Here, this is for calorimeter. So mass of the calorimeter and also the one C, specific heat of calorimeter. Remember, this MC, it is already given because for any calorimeter, it will be given already the value for this. As per given laboratory purpose, they give the value. It is already given here for calorimeter because it will be printed on that calorimeter itself. What is the value? So M into C. How did you get this one? M into C, mass of the one calorimeter and also specific heat of that will be given here. This is MC. What is delta T? Delta T is rise in temperature. Again we have the temperature is earlier TF. That is one final final temperature it is. Earlier it was TW. So this is one formula we have. Right? So heat gain is equal to heat loss. We are writing the formula. So finally what happens here in this case, you remember mass of water. Already we have measured mass of water from this. By using this condition we have already known substance what is mass of water. What is CW? Specific heat of water. In the previous class I said the one water is having highest specific heat which is 4186 joules per kg per Kelvin. That is already known. It's the one highest specific heat that you know already. So this is known, and what is TF? Final temperature, whatever it is attained, that is known. Earlier before the one water has inserted in that temperature we have noted down TW. So these two temperatures are known here, and this M, mass of the calorimeter, and C, specific heat of calorimeter, both are given. So both are known here. This TF and TW are known. So all these values are known here. All these values are known here. Now for this mass of solid, we know what is mass of solid. By just measuring that we know it. What is TH? We know that also. Because the hot temperature, whatever it has raised, this we know. What is TF? Final temperature, what has raised in this, that we already know here. So we know this. But what we do not know, the C we do not know. That C we have to calculate. What is the C called as? Specific heat of substance. Specific heat of a given substance. Given substance. That we have to calculate by the help of this calorimeter. So this you are calculating by this mathematical equation. This is how we do in the laboratory the experiment. At the same time, this is the method to follow to solve the problems for the one calorimetric problems. Okay, so to find whenever you want to calculate the one specific heat for any given substance using calorimeter, and we can use this formula also to solve it. So already we know the concept. The consequence of conservation of energy will help the one to solve physics problems, particularly for calorimetric problems. So this is the method to follow this. So hope you know what I said. And remember, this you also learn in the laboratory how we do the experiment. Similarly, the one method we are using to solve problems in physics. So in the previous class I explained about calorimetry, and today I will explain the one experiment with the help of this instrument I have explained today. So better you go through the things carefully, and this formula you should remember how to write the equations. And this is the one step we have to follow, this method, the equation how we are writing. With the help of that we will write this process. Hope you understood this calorimeter, the experiment, and also the coming days I will solve the problems. At that time I use this concept, heat gain is equal to heat lost. So using that, again I am using heat gain and heat loss, these methods. At the same time I use this formula where Q is equal to mc delta T, which we have learned in the previous class. Okay, this completes the one calorimeter. Okay, right. Now let me go for the next part in this chapter. The next part regarding the change of states. A very interesting part it is, change of state. Now I will explain how it is. energy to the molecules. When I supply heat energy to molecules, what happens? The heat energy when you supply to it, the one temperature rises. When temperature rises, what happens? Kinetic energy increases. At the same time, potential energy increases. So I am supplying heat energy, I said. Here, heat energy I am supplying to molecules. So when I supply heat energy to molecules, what happens? Energy, nothing but called as the one you have, the temperature rises. First when I supply heat energy to it, temperature rises. So when temperature rises means what happens here? The two, that is nothing but the kinetic energy increases. At the same time, potential energy increases. So when temperature rises means kinetic energy increases and potential energy also increases. Right? Now, at the same time you just observe when I say kinetic energy, this concept you learn in the next chapter, kinetic theory of gases. You learn maximum concept based on the one kinetic energy and the kinetic theory of gases. Okay. Now, the next point I want to say about the one potential energy in that. What do you want to say here means, remember, as the temperature increases, as the temperature is nothing but when you supply heat energy, two factors arises. One, temperature increases. Second point, naturally there is nothing but when the temperature rises, the second point is change of state. It takes place. Let me tell you what it is. When heat energy is supplied to it, the one first point, temperature rises. These are the two steps followed. Temperature rises. This is the first point. What is the second point? The second point is change of state. So these two action takes place when you supply heat energy to the given molecules. Please observe, when you are supplying heat energy, first step means temperature rises. What happens? Temperature rises, its kinetic energy increases, potential energy increases. This I said, this maximum concept you learn in the next chapter, kinetic theory of gases. There you learn about what is kinetic energy, right? And also potential energy also increases, right? Now, I said temperature rises means what happens? First point temperature rises, second point action of the one change of state takes place. These are the two steps followed when heat energy is applied to the molecules. Two steps have been followed. So when I say temperature rises means the one earlier maybe the minimum temperature will be there, it will rise to maximum temperature. At that time these possibilities takes place. So at the one point, what happens? As the temperature rises, the kinetic energy increases. When the temperature rises means one more step takes place. What is it? Naturally, remember in this, the distance between the molecules, the one distance between the molecules increases. So distance between molecules, distance between molecules increases. So distance between molecules increases means what happens? Force decreases. Force decreases. So please observe the second point you can observe here. As the temperature rises, the distance between the molecules increases. Naturally force decreases. This point we explain in the another name called as change of state. We call it as change of state. So let me tell you how it is. For simple example I will give. Let me say we have a solid substance like aluminium. If I just heat it, what happens? Temperature rises. After some time what happens? That solid substance will change to liquid. So here temperature has been rising. So for this I tell you what it is. Solid substance. Now, as temperature increases means I am heating it. I am increasing the temperature. Naturally, solid becomes liquid. So, when you heat it, when solid is heated, nothing but aluminum is heated, that becomes a liquid. When you just heat it, actually temperature rises. By chance, if I just reverse this process, then what happens? Means nothing but here, the one liquid. When you cool it, what happens? It becomes cooling. So this liquid will be cooling. Naturally it becomes the one solid, nothing but ice. So heating point will be taken place, rising the temperature. Cooling means you are decreasing the temperature, you are reversing the temperature, you are decreasing the temperature. So at these positions, what we come across is, we come across the 2 points. One is melting point, another is freezing point. So these two concepts you learn under this. One is melting point, another is freezing point. So for this one simple example I will give, where I said solid substance, when that is solid is heated, it becomes liquid. So the solid is heated, naturally temperature rises, it becomes a liquid. Here a temperature has been raised up to what? Up to the one, there is a continuous change in temperature, it will be remaining solid itself. When once the one temperature will be maximum, it will never, if you rise also it will never increase the temperature. If you rise the temperature also it will never show any change in temperature. At that time it completely changes from solid to liquid. So at that time it completely changes to liquid. So what concept you understand here means, so here we have one important concept, it is convenient method for us. These two steps will be taken place, temperature rises and change of state takes place. But two will never take at a time, only one action will be taken at a time. Only at a time, only one action. Maybe alone temperature rises or maybe alone change of state takes place. When once temperature changes means, rises means, change of state does not change, it will remain constant, it will never change, it will remain same, constant. But when once change of state takes place, temperature will never rise, it will stop, temperature stops. So any one action will be taken place when this process takes place. So both will never take at a time, both will never take at a time. So only one action. For example, if you are heating solid temperature rises. So this process takes place, rises, it reaches maximum point. So until then temperature rises. When once it reaches maximum temperature, up to that what happens? This change of state do not change. It will not change. It will not change. It will remain same. It will remain constant. This temperature rises. When once it reaches maximum temperature, then this solid will change to liquid. When change of solid to liquid means, at that time here change of state takes place. This change of state takes place means, when change of state takes place, naturally change of state takes place. At that time what happens? Temperature remains constant. So this process takes place. Temperature does not change, So only one process at a time. I hope you understand what I say. So we have two actions will be taken place as and when you supply heat to it. One is temperature rises, another is change of state. But these two actions will never take at a time, only one will be taken at a time, maybe the temperature rise or change of state. So for this solid to liquid, temperature rises, but this do not change, it will never change, it remains same. When once the temperature stops, rising of temperature stops, then the change of state takes place. At that time, temperature remains constant. So this is the method you have to follow when this undergoes the one change of state. For this we call it as change of state. So there are the three, that is you already know the matter exists 3 states. states of matter. There is matter, that is nothing but here you can observe matter exists in three states of matter. One is called as solid, that is exists in three states. That is, one is solid, another is liquid, another is gas. So these are the three states of matter. So solid will change to liquid when the temperature has been increased. Solid will change to liquid. You are heating it. Again, if you heat the liquid, will change to gas. The one temperature rises. Okay. Now, by chance, if the one gas is, if you cool it, it becomes liquid. Yeah. This is the heating process takes place. It is heating process. When you reverse it, we are cooling it. So here we are cooling it. Here we are heating it. Right? When cooling it means this gas becomes liquid. Again, this liquid will become, that is solid. So how this will change to ice? So by cooling this, it becomes like this. So when you heat it, change of state takes place from solid to liquid. Again, if you heat it, liquid will change to gaseous state. By chance, if you are decreasing the temperature, you are cooling from gas to the one, cooling the temperature means you are decreasing temperature, it becomes liquid. Still, if you decrease, it becomes solid, nothing but ice. Right? This is the one process you come across here. The rising or cooling of temperature takes place. That I just show with the one graph. I will just show the one graph how you come across here. That one plotting of graph, temperature versus the one time. So if you the one temperature increases with respect to change in time. So time, as the time elapses, temperature also changes. So when temperature changes with respect to time, what is the graph you come across? I will just show the graph here. So that is temperature versus time. You can observe here temperature along y-axis. This is time. This is in minutes. Here this is in degree centigrade. So here I just write this is 0 degree centigrade. Here it is 100 degree centigrade. Right? This is the time along x-axis. What do you observe? So you know ice which is of 0 degree centigrade. As you increase the temperature, this will be increasing. Temperature has been increased. Then it will reach that certain point. Again, this will again becomes the one liquid. When once it becomes liquid, here just increase in the temperature. Again, the change of state takes place here. Next, if you increase the temperature, it will up to 100 degrees centigrade. If you increase, it will come here. This is the one state you can observe here. What is this 0 to 0 degree? 0 degree centigrade to this position means here it is liquid. This is liquid. This is vaporization. Liquid. So from 0 to that one position, if it is heating means 0 to that one, it is liquid. Again vaporization takes place. When once it is increased up to 100 degrees centigrade, it has become vapor. It has become vapor here. So here, this is the one you can observe. There, this is the one melting point. This is melting point. When once it reaches here, this point is called as, this is boiling point. Boiling point. You can observe here. That is the one melting point. Another point is called as the one boiling point. You can observe as the time elapses. Boiling point of water. You can observe here. This is the one boiling point. You can observe here up to this position. So please observe temperature versus time. You can observe here in this case where when it reaches here, this position means it has reached 100 degrees centigrade. It has become vapor. So this is the process you observe under the one temperature versus time. You can observe how the one melting point of ice will be changing completely to liquid. So let me explain with some example here. So if I take the one ice, let me say I just take the one solid substance and liquid to, I said already in the point. Now let me take water. When I take water, already I have water at present. So I want to remove all the heat from it. So I am removing the heat means what happens? The one temperature will be the one decreasing here. Temperature decreases. Still I am removing the heat from it. Again temperature decreases. Up to what? Up to 0 degrees centigrade. Means I am removing the what is heat from it. Heat contents are removed from it. Naturally what happens is this is water is brought to 0 degrees centigrade. When once water is brought to 0 degrees centigrade means what? You are just liquid is brought to 0 degree means you are decreasing the temperature. When you are decreasing the temperature means what happens here? Temperature decreases means nothing but called as, it is called as freezing point. It is called freezing point. So water is when already you are removing the water from it. So naturally what happens? It becomes 0 degrees centigrade. Still you are decreasing it. It is nothing but what is freezing point. You are decreasing the temperature. Your temperature has been decreased. Temperature decreases. Now next point. If I take the one ice, let me say I have solid substance ice. This ice is of 10 degrees centigrade. I am removing the heat from it. So I am removing the heat means temperature increases. So I am removing the heat means what happens here? Temperature increases. What happens? It becomes -9 degrees centigrade. Again if you remove it, that is -8 degrees centigrade. Again I am removing it. Again it becomes 0 degrees centigrade. So here what happens? Temperature increases. So ice -10 degrees centigrade it was. Now I am removing the temperature from that is I am removing the heat from it. So temperature increases. Still it decreases. Finally it becomes 0 degrees centigrade. That is nothing but here -10 degree to 0 degrees centigrade means temperature has been increased. So temperature rises. Naturally you can say this is called as the one melting point. Melting point. So this point you just observe. You already have the one solid substance. Now this is coming to 0 degrees centigrade means it has become that is nothing but here liquid. At that time this is what as the one you can say it is melting point. You are raising the temperature. Here you are decreasing the temperature. So you have understood how there is a melting point and boiling point here to explain. And also freezing point. Boiling point. When you want to say about boiling point, you are heating to 0 to 100 degrees centigrade. You are heating from 0 to 100 degrees centigrade means you are increasing the temperature. The water has attained the one boiling point and this point is called as boiling point of water. Boiling point. So here what happens? Temperature has been raised. So now this liquid, whatever it is there liquid, whenever the liquid has been changing from 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, temperature has been raised. When once it reaches 100 degrees centigrade, naturally temperature does not change, it remains constant. At that time change of state takes place. Now what happens? That water has been changed to vapor, nothing but steam. When water has changed to vapor means change of state takes place. When change of state takes place, temperature remains constant. And that point is called as a boiling point. So we learn the one called as boiling point here at this time. At the same time, here what happens? You are removing the one, you are giving the temperature to it I said just now. So what happens? For 1 kg of ice, you are just supplying the one heat to it. So you are raising the temperature, you are giving heat energy to it. That is for 1 kg, some amount of it, 1 joule of heat, 2 joule of heat. Again you are just giving the heat to it. Up to what heat you have to give? When 0 degree centigrade to 100 degree centigrade has to be raised means it is rising to that means you are supplying 22.6 into 10 raised to 5 joules per kg per kg. This amount of heat you are giving energy to it. When you give this much amount of energy, this complete water is changing to one vapor, and that is called as vapor. That is more amount of heat is there for it. So this amount you are only temperature has raised, but here this amount of energy is applying to convert from 0 to 100 degrees centigrade. So it is changing to one vapor. What is this? This point is called as, the one called as, nothing but called as given. It is the steam point, where you can say latent heat of, that is steam, where it is 22.6. What do you mean by latent heat? You are supplying heat to it. Therefore, 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, temperature rises. You are giving some energy to it. That energy which is hidden, that energy is hidden when temperature remains constant. That hidden energy, that is hidden heat, we call it as, by the name called as latent. The hidden heat, by the word called as latent heat, we call it as latent heat. So for this you can observe where Q is equal to M into F. What do you mean by this here? Q is equal to M into L means Q is the quantity of heat you are supplying to a given substance which is having some mass. L is what? That is the latent heat of the given substance. That latent heat of the one, that is steam, where it is 22.6 into 10 raised to 5 joules of kg per Kelvin. For 1 kg of water, we are supplying this amount of the energy to it for to rise the temperature. It is called as the one latent heat. Right? Now, Q is equal to M into L. One more step we have formula where Q is equal to MC delta theta. What is the difference between these two? When you are writing this formula, here what happens? The one change of state takes place. Here change of state. Here change of state. At that time, temperature remains constant. Temperature constant. Here it is changing from, that is temperature, it is nothing but rises. When temperature rises, we are using this formula because here we will have delta theta, or you can say delta T. What is this? Delta T. So there is a rise in temperature here, mass is there, specific heat of a given substance is there. At that time temperature rises, change of state do not take place here. Change of state do not take place here. Please observe, change of state do not take place here. But here, when you use this formula, change of state takes place, but temperature remains constant. So as and when you come across the concept in your solving problem, remember Q is equal to ML means change of state takes place. Q is equal to MC delta T means their temperature rises, change of state do not take place. This concept you should be familiar while explaining the one latent. What is latent heat? It is an hidden heat. That what is the one called as? That is hidden heat. You can explain that. You can write with respect to concept of the one latent heat. Nothing but here. That is L, represented by the symbol L. This is represented by the symbol L. Latent heat is represented by the symbol L, which is the hidden heat is there. It is converting from one state to another state. The change of state takes place from solid to liquid, from liquid to vapor will be taken place when the temperature remains constant. That is called as latent heat. So today we have learned the one change of state. Using this, these are the process we come across. So please be careful. When change of state what we explain, here remember, first step I am supplying heat energy to given molecule. When we give supply energy molecules, the two process takes place, temperature rises. First step. Second step, change of state. What happens? Temperature rises means kinetic energy and potential energy increases. Right? This I said in the next class we will learn. But here when temperature rises means what happens? Naturally, the one distance between the molecules increases. This I can explain. If I take solid, solid is there. When I increase the temperature, naturally what happens? It becomes liquid I said. So when liquid becomes means what happens? The molecules in between them will be moving far away from it. So they will be moving away. You know, in liquids the molecules will be slightly far away from each other. Still if I heat it, what happens? That liquid will be changing to gaseous state. At that time, these molecules are free enough to move anywhere here. So here, distance increases, naturally force decreases. At that time you can say here the one change of state has been taken place. Then you learn into this. But these two processes will take place only once at a time, only one at a time. So if temperature rises, this will remain constant. If this changes, this remains constant. This is the process we come across here. Okay, and I said as the temperature increases from 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, as the time elapses, you can observe that ice at this position here, it is converting to liquid here. Melting of, that is melting point, you can observe here, melting of ice. So this is melting point, we call it as melting of ice at this position. Again, if you supply heat, naturally the one state changes, at that time temperature remains constant. At that time you can observe this is the one line which is constant line. When once it changes to liquid, again if you rise the temperature, it comes to vapor state. When once vapor state means temperature rises, again here what happens? The change of state takes place from liquid to vapor. This is the process you observe here from the graph. And this I said, if solid is heated, it becomes liquid. Again if you cool this liquid, it becomes ice. So for these two things we explain the concept, melting point and freezing point. So for this I said, if the water is brought to 0 degree centigrade means I am removing the heat from it. So naturally what happens? It freezes, freezing point we call it as. When ice is there, if I want to give the temperature, then naturally when you increase the temperature, it changes to the liquid, that point is called as melting point. So these are the processes you can observe. Again if I say 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, you can observe it is increased, water has been raised from 0 to 100 degree, it has reached boiling point. When once it reaches boiling point, it has reached vapor state. At that time what happens here? You can observe it has changed completely into steam. So be aware, you know already it is having more amount of energy here, joules, that is joules per kg per Kelvin. For 1 kg of water, you have this much amount of heat is there. So naturally what happens, this amount of heat which is more, you can observe in our day-to-day life, steam water, that is steam. When it is put in on your hand or when it is there, naturally you can observe that is the one, injuries are more compared to hot water compared to steam, that is because injuries are more. So when you come across the steam on your any of the one hand, if you come across it, the steam, naturally the injuries will be more, that you can observe because it is having more heat. But water, only the one heat will be there, but nothing, it will not change, it will not give any more injuries in that. Similarly, you can also observe when you increase the temperature means naturally you can also increase the pressure. That pressure will be increased inside means you can use this in our day-to-day example like pressure cookers. So you are raising the temperature, that is nothing but you are also supplying some pressure to it. Naturally what happens, the pressure cooker will cook very fast. That is how you can observe in our day-to-day life. So these examples you are aware. The remaining concept let us learn in the